Now we can
Welcome,
go.
everybody. Nope, Endo started talking. I tried. So then you want to do the intro?
No, I'm good.
1, a 2. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Tougies Take podcast, your favorite hockey podcast that's only sometimes about hockey. Endo once upon a time labeled it a fraudcast, and it's a pretty apt description. Speaking of one Endurance M, he is back this week, currently preoccupied stuffing his face with food. So he waved, though, for those of you that only listen on the audio side of
I haven't eaten
things.
anything yet today, so this is my first meal
There
and
you
my
go.
last supper. So I'm good. How we doing? How we doing, fellas?
We're doing good. We're doing good. Sin.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hanging in there.
Yeah, I finally unlocked Elite Edges in NHL last night. Like after I just only ever playing with you guy, doing a bit of Pro-Am. I'm just like, I want Elite Edges and Gold 1T. And then I discovered Gold 1T doesn't unlock to level 50. And I'm like, God damn it, I don't want to play any more of Pro-Am. And I'm just like, yeah, I'll wait.
So you grinded Pro-Am.
I still haven't finished it. I mean, yeah, just let me buy it.
You know,
just kidding. I mean, just let me enjoy the game enough that we play it a lot, and I just unlock things within the first couple weeks, like it used to happen.
yeah. But don't you miss the days of having to buy boost packs in the 360 era? Plus 5 speed.
I never played online
Mm-hmm.
in that era. I only started playing Ishul in I mean, technically, I did at the end of that era, like NHL, like 15 old, like 360. I didn't really play 14 online, and then I got into Ishul in like NHL 15.
I didn't realize it was that late.
I was very late to the like online scene of NHL because for a long time I just didn't. After kind of got bored of Halo, I didn't really do Xbox Live anymore. Like after I dropped out of the craziness of Halo 2, Halo 3, I'm all over that shit. But I kind of dropped out after that.
I didn't realize it was that late because I felt like I was late to it. But then again, I started playing online eShow with like NHL 10 or 11. So I was only like a year or two out from when it started.
I was very late to the party.
Yeah. Well, what a party to be late to. Let's be honest.
Well, I mean, shit, dude. Once I got into it, I'm like, damn, dude, is this what I've been missing? This is a blast. Like, I don't have to bitch about the AI. Kind of humans act more like hockey players at times. At times.
And now we have Ishul being EASHL being what it is, which you and I just got done an hour or so ago, doing our NHL 24 esports commentary with Sports Gamer.
I'm still wearing the jersey. I haven't changed.
You are.
Like, fuck it.
And I had to slap a sweatshirt on because it's a cold time. Winter has finally arrived in New England. But you and I just got done with a series of games, and it had one of the worst bounces leading to a game-winning goal with 1 second left that I think I've ever seen.
Oh,
the type of goal. It's a put the controller down and go play something else type of goal, right? Like if the three of us were playing EASHL with the friendos on stream and that happens to us, that's all right, boys, I'm gonna go play something else type of goal.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like I don't get that angry at the game anymore.
You and I both go through phases.
Yeah. I flat out won't play during that time though.
That's fair. But yeah, you and I both go through phases, and I feel like you helped me get to that point in regards to sometimes, and again, we talked about the story, right, last year in Finland, when you and I got stuck outside of the venue.
Yeah.
That we were broadcasting in, where normally I'm the one who would be like, this sucks, I hate this, I hate it so much. And you're normally the one, that's okay, man, we'll just go with the flow. And then you were the one where it's like, I'm over this. I want to go home. I'm over this. And I'm like, it's fine. It's an adventure.
Yeah. Holy
And
shit.
we treat EASHL the same way. There are some nights where you're the more calm voice of reason and you're not really fussed by the bullshit of the video game. And, I'm wanting to jump off a bridge. And then there are other nights where we, kind of reverse roles in that regard.
Yeah.
It's an interesting dynamic, I would say, but it's beneficial because typically it has to be pretty bad for both of us to be like, this fucking shit sucks, which is what happened the last time we played each other.
Yeah.
We played 2 games before I fired up a stream, and it was just like, well, there's no way we're playing this on stream tonight. You're just like, this game
like
sucks.
I could have given it like another game. I wasn't to the point of actually being angry yet, but I was just like, if I'm not gonna keep playing if no one else is playing. Like, I'm just like, yeah, okay. If it's gonna behave like this, if people aren't my whole thing is like, if other people aren't really having fun, like, then I don't want to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it drags it down for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why in the past, I remember when you would like force yourself to play because everyone else wanted to play, even though you didn't. And now you won't play if you don't want to, which is smart. But yeah, it would get to the point, definitely healthier, because the second we get in, if any little thing went wrong, you were like, oh, fucking, of course. Yeah. And then I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. And other times you have a longer leash on that where like, all right, a couple things can go wrong and it takes the egregious thing. So yeah, you do a much better job of now just like not playing when you just don't want to, which is the way to go with any game. It's crazy that a fucking video game that we want to be good and want to play just brings out these weird things in everyone.
That's why the temptation's always there to play, though, right? And it's like, we talk about the esports side of things on occasion on this podcast because it's it's a big part of what we do. And I saw a tweet when we were live. I think it was from Neeler, who said, "Oh, is NHL 24 going to kill the competitive scene?" And honestly, I don't know.
As we know it, maybe.
Because over the past 24 hours, there was another set of call them retirements. I know the League Gaming Twitter account, which I don't know if that's Brody or whatever, was like, hey, can we get used to calling these breaks instead of retirements? Because you never know if you'll be back. But the NA scene was particularly impacted in the past 24 hours. I saw Rocket just put something out like an hour ago before we're recording this. And then last night was Hendry.
And K-Cut's gone too.
Yeah.
Oh shit, is he really? I missed that one. Christ, people are dropping like flies. And that's fucking nuts from the Hendry side of things, because that is somebody that we got to meet as a member of his team Entourage less than a year ago. And now there's 2, if not 3 members of that team in less than a year who are like, yeah, I'm done with this game competitively.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts.
It's crazy. I mean, So it is NHL 24. Will it kill the competitive scene? No. Is it going to kill what we know as the competitive scene? Yes. There's going to be other people that step up. That's the thing. There's going to be a whole crop of these young fuckers, young little sweats who are licking their chops right now. And they're like, this is mine for the taking now. I can jump in. Like, it's I don't think it'll ever go away, because there's always going to be someone who's still hungry, who's going to be willing to put up with it or learn enough to get around it and make those necessary adjustments and things like that. And so yeah, it's going to change. It's not going to die. NA especially loves to be fucking dramatic about things. There's some things that happen that are egregious, but are the bounces really that fucking different from last year? No. But there's enough other things they don't like about 24 where they're going to put it all on this game, despite I love what the devs tried to do with the game. And I don't want them to stop going in that direction. But yeah, there's things they need to fix. Those things were the same things they needed to fix last year. People were bitching about the bounces last year. And now they want to act like NHL 23 was some superior fucking product when all they did was piss and moan about it all year. Come on, man. Like, people have short memories and they're dramatic. And that's all I gather, particularly from the North American competitive scene. Europeans don't like the game. They'll bitch about it and stuff like that. Some more than others, but they have more of they're more chill because it fucking's amazing to live in the Nordics. I don't blame them for being chill all the time. And
Well,
they
they're
just
also very cold.
yeah.
Sorry, chill's dual meaning. Sorry.
But
Comedy.
yeah, I had a big talk with McSaven about it. It was actually in one of the streams when Tougie was not having it, and he talked to me afterwards, and he's like, yeah, I like your mentality, and Tougie needs to take a break for a while. I'm like, yeah, I'm telling him that because he's not having fun and stuff like that, and he was like, yeah, it's like you just have to learn it. I think it was at the beginning of maybe 23. I don't think it was 24, but it was like the beginning of the game where it completely changed from the beta, which everyone kind of loved, and they just made it a fast clusterfuck. And I remember in the beginning, you were not having it. You're like, these incidentals suck. This sucks. Everything sucks. I can't do this. I can't do that. And I'm like, it's cool, man. Let's just try to learn how it works. And like, yeah.
Sounds like you.
And he was, yeah. But anyway, just long thing short, that's just the kind of the European mentality. Like, all right, well, let's see if we can learn the ins and outs of it before we pile on. Whereas NA is more, fuck this. Okay, let's try to learn. Okay, never mind. Fuck this.
I was gonna say, right, like that's the attitude towards it is, you know, some nights you're just like, all right, the game is what it is, let's just play it for what it is. But then there are other nights where it just gets a little bit more under your skin about what the game could be, should be, what you want it to be, and it just gets more difficult to look past the shortcomings and to, you know, bring it back to the broadcast earlier. I mean, we're talking about a situation like playing EASHL just like on stream casually as a group of friends, let alone getting screwed over by
if money's involved, I'm pissed.
Yeah, right. And
I don't play for money though.
Right, and at the same time, it's like, do you have the standpoint if you're one of those players to just be like, well, I knew what I signed up for, I knew what this game was, you know?
Yeah,
and
it's
then
a fine line.
Yeah, and then you get into the conversation about, well, there are bounces in real hockey, and it's like, well, there's a difference here in terms of what we're talking about from an EA video game bounce compared to what a bounce in real hockey means, you know?
Yeah, and that's another thing I actually just thought of right now, kind of actually had an epiphany on it, is like, how much do we want a hockey simulation? Because fucked up bounces happen in hockey. Do they happen as often as they happen in the game? Actually, maybe, because we think of it from a perspective. How many games can you play a night? Like, we'll play it 5 to 10.
Yeah.
5 to 10 games in real life is probably over the span of 2 to 4 weeks. So, like, it's all in a shorter size. So we perceive it from a human element, whereas we're playing a video game element. And maybe those bounces that happen in real life happen more, we think more frequently because of just the sheer amount and the volume that we're playing and participating. So I think we need to decide, the NHL community as a whole, definitely, how much do you want a realistic quote unquote game rather than a competitive resemblance of hockey? Because realism includes shit like that. And I'm sure if someone, I'd be interested in someone who actually had the patience to sit down and do the math and looked up fucked up bounces in like actual hockey, how often they would happen, and then try to break it down versus how often they would happen in an NHL video game. I'm sure the game would still take the cake, but I'm sure it's not as big of a gap as some people would think about it.
I mean, it's funny because there's that debate over video games and real, you know, simulation versus not. Like, that's been a conversation in Madden for a long time, where EA has the exclusive license for simulation football games. And a lot of people view Madden as not at all being a simulation football game, with a lot of the gameplay choices there. And, well, that's where the X Factor system originated. And the concept of there's an ability that means for quarterbacks, if you have it active, you literally can't have the ball be picked. And it's like, well, that's not simulation.
No.
There's an ability where if it's active and your guy's in the zone, he can't fumble.
That's not simulation.
That's not simulation. Exactly. It's this weird mixture and in between, which is what a lot of sports games are, because I feel like the target is well, we want it to be simulation, but we'll throw in these unrealistic elements for the fun factor. But it doesn't really work that way. I don't think that translates well to, all right, it's a simulation game, but yeah, we added in X factors for fun, or just some of the other game design choices that there have been. It seems to be this middle ground that sports games have been in for a really long time in regards to, all right, we're simulation, but how do we keep it more fun? And then, yeah, I think that leads to people like Endo and Davos and other friends of ours that still love to play there's Super Mario Strikers and a lot of other arcadey sports games.
That game's goated, 100%. That game's
I just wanted to give
good.
Endo an in to the conversation.
That's the greatest. That's the greatest product to come out of Mike Englehart's hands, who is the creative director of the current NHL franchise. Funny how that comes full circle.
Insert witty comment about NHL being like Super Mario Strikers.
It's NHL. It feels like NHL hits 2024.
No, it doesn't.
In some instances, it just feels like the bounces are crazy, and in others, it feels like it works fine. But it's very rare that the game is consistent, is what I've noticed, and it's very rare that a hockey game is still consistent as well too. So you might be onto something with, the theory essentially of that you have more bounces per 60 because of how many games you're playing in a certain window of time. But then there's also stuff that's kind of inexcusable. But then you could go down to coding.
I'm not. I'm not saying those puck pickup situations are excusable in any way. It's just like that's what we expect if there's a mechanic, we want it to work as it's designed to work, and that's why that I have that theory of we don't really want a complete hockey simulation because you're never going to have it. It's a video game.
Oh yeah.
There's so many like different intangibles that happen in the game of hockey that we don't have control over. So therefore you're never going to be able to make it like hockey. So at some point, why try, and why not just make a resemblance of hockey that's competitive and balanced, quote unquote.
That was a conversation I had with the Flopfish, who used to be the NHL community manager before the Clapperton. And he and I have had plenty of conversations over the years. We should get him on the show sometimes. He's
a fucking smart dude, and he makes great points. I love talking with him.
And he and I had that conversation about like what he would want a hockey game to be, which is arcade and fun. Like he views like 3-on-3 arcade from the 360 PS3 days as one of the best hockey games ever made.
Man,
that's his preference, of course. I honestly don't have too much experience with that game.
God. It's good.
Yeah. So I've heard.
Does.
I think it's one of those things with a competitive hockey game nowadays. Like to me, it's rock, paper, scissors. A lot of the gameplay right now isn't. A lot of it's just like, all right, I'm going to try this. Well, I'm going to do the counter. Doesn't matter that you did the counter. To me, it's like, I feel like it needs to be a series of counters, and whoever fucks up their counter is, when you're losing, essentially. It's like, oh, okay, you're doing this defensively. Well, then I'm going to start doing this offensively. Oh, he changed? Let me do this defensively. But if you get it wrong in terms of what you're trying to do, then the offense is going to have the advantage, so to speak, if that makes sense. And I don't really feel like we have that series of counters right now because it's way more beneficial to just keep doing the same things that are super high quality if they get through. And even if you fail 49 out of 50 times, well, the one time it works, it's almost a guaranteed goal. So that's what people go for. And it just leads to boring metas. And I don't know. Anyway.
It's funny because Saphir just put a tweet out talking about the state of, players retiring from Chell Esports, He says, quote verbatim, I will say here, I'll drop it in the chat for you guys to see as well. Former The Hockey News guy with the NHL podcast with Rahil, both those guys left, He says, sucks to see so many comp players retiring from Chell Esports. I hate Chell, by the way. One, the game isn't designed with esports in mind. Obviously, you're going to cater towards the casual audience, especially for a game as niche as NHL. And two, other than the hashtag NHL24WC, so World Championship, we've seen a decrease in the number of NHL teams involved in magnitude of events. The golden age of NHL esports were between NHL 18 and NHL 20. I would also say NHL 21 as well, because that's when they, kind of started getting more stuff in there. Like the Northern Arena tournament, I think that was the jumping of the shark, because that was a lot of money being dumped in that no one had seen before. And the fallout behind that with, certain things happening and certain language being used when an NHL affiliated tournament had to postpone 2 days because of stuff that happened.
To elaborate on that, what you're referring to is Northern Arena, which is a massive gaming organization in Canada.
Yeah.
They were hosting an NHL event. And this was around the time of early summer 2020 when the George Floyd thing happened. And Northern Arena announced they were going to postpone games for a night or two. And I'd like to say children, but let's be honest, these could have been older people too. Freaked the fuck out and said, "Oh, why are we delaying games for this?" And And I think it was incidents like that and some others that maybe had some people say, is this the community to work with?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's true at a time right now, like we had some NHL teams that were running their own events, and a couple of them have stopped running events.
Prize pools have dropped down, and people are wondering why prize pools have dropped down. Like, I believe the big one was when the Sharks had their one that just wrapped up recently with Al's GT winning. They had a previous prize pool, I think it was like $10,000, because that's the number basically everyone had set at, and now it went back to $2,500 US. Right. And people were saying, "Wow, the community's washed, the community's this and that." I'm like, but when these events happen, it's a reflection of the community. You put out what you put in. You get out what you put in. If you don't put in the effort to watch, effort to support and do stuff like that, you're not going to get events like that. For example, I love putting it back to the fighting game community, aka the FGC. They have grassroots tournaments. No matter what city you live in, it's a major city, there's always a tournament happening. I'm not saying everyone should start making all these massive events and do all these big things. It takes a lot of work, but there's always something happening for a sport, for like a fighting game. There are still tournaments for Street Fighter 1, 2 Super, like all this stuff happening. NHL 94 has a bigger esports scene than NHL does right now. I'm not even joking about that. The amount of tournaments and like actual rankings there are for NHL 94 on the Nintendo Entertainment System and fucking Sega Genesis is hilarious. And that's just been going on for 30 years now? And there's more support and things going on for that. It's just that a lot of people want the instant gratification of things happening, being like, "Oh, my favorite game, my sports game is having a tournament. I want this to go on and on and on and be more successful," without wanting to put in the work to have it be successful.
I don't know what the solution is necessarily, because it's just, there's so much to change. And you look at where
your locals.
You look at where this conversation went, and it went from the casual side of things, the competitive side of things, the state of the game, and regardless of what way you look at it, and just there's a lot. There's a lot I think a lot of people would like to see change, but I think the overall point, to Sin's credit, is just, the game's probably not going anywhere. The competitive scene won't go anywhere for a game of its size, but it'll change. The names and the faces will change, and that's a part of it. Now, whether or not that change has been accelerated, you can have that conversation. But at the end of the day, it's still just something that was going to happen eventually. Anyway, that said, let's get to a couple of viewer questions to kick things off, eh? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our first question comes from one Wheelchair Hulk, although I believe there was a typo to my credit, so I am going to double check this. I think I may have copied and pasted the wrong thing, or he did actually ask about this. I definitely copy and pasted the wrong thing. So I am glad that I double checked, because what he had asked about...
That seems like not a question.
Because it wasn't. I copied and pasted the wrong thing. He had asked for our mid-season award predictions, which we haven't talked about our kind of updated predictions in a while. We certainly didn't do it, I believe, at the start of the month. So I was kind of, fine with kind of going through here and saying, like, okay, who are the obvious winners for things, right? And now a lot of these, it kind of comes down to, like, you just look at the NHL.com page and you can kind of guess who it's going to be.
Yeah.
In terms of the Art Ross Trophy winner for top point scorer, there are two guys right now at the helm of this race. In third place is David Pastrnak at 66 points. Second is Nikita Kucherov with 76. And then at the very top, Nathan MacKinnon on 77. If you ask most people, I think, through the midway point of the season now, who's going to put up the most points, I think most people are looking at Nathan MacKinnon. He is playing the best hockey of his career. He is averaging an outrageous 23 minutes a night.
Hell yeah.
Literally, I saw something where a reporter asked him, like, hey, so how do you feel about playing this much? And he's like, well, it's my job. That's what I get paid to do.
The Nikola Jokic of the fucking NHL right there.
I thought it was a tremendous answer on his part. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I feel like McKinnon's probably the guy that you look at, especially too, because Tampa's in a situation where they're not exactly shoo-ins for the playoffs, but a couple of teams in that old Eastern Conference in the Atlantic Division specifically aren't exactly shoo-ins for the playoffs. So.
I think McDavid's going to win it. I'm just saying, like, I know he's 18 points behind. I felt a lot more comfortable when I thought it was just like Kucherov on top and like Pastrnak. I didn't realize MacKinnon was going off that much. He's crazy. I still think it could be McDavid.
That's fair.
He's fucking nutty, and we're waiting for the regression to the mean for him in the way that he's not putting up nearly as many points as he usually does. And now the Oilers are starting to come alive. He had a horrific beginning to the season, also with injury. Yep. He's in the prime of his career. I don't know. I want to see. I'm more trying to will it to happen because, goddamn. Well, we'll see. I mean, it's going to be tough to catch MacKinnon. Catching Kucherov, you could do that. Tampa is struggling. Stamkos may not even be back.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big talking point, saying that they weren't going to trade him. To your point about the Oilers, 13 straight wins.
Yep.
Which is a franchise record. It is the longest winning streak for a Canadian team in NHL history, and tied for 7th all time in NHL history for longest winning streak. I had to look it up. NHL records.nhl.com, by the way. An amazing platform. I love this website so much. The longest win streak of all time. Do either of you know what it is?
I know the unbeaten streak is the fucking Flyers, like 23 games in a row.
Longest winning streak of the NHL.
Longest winning streak in the NHL.
God, is it? It's going to be a team from like decades ago, isn't it?
1992-93.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's the fucking the Montreal Canadiens.
Incorrect.
Okay, give up.
The 1992-93 Pittsburgh Penguins
Of course.
won 17 games in a row.
Jeez.
For the record, the Oilers right now are in a 6-way tie for 7th with the 71 Bruins, the 85 Flyers, the 2001 Devils, and the 2022 Florida Panthers. Oh, and the 2022 Devils. What the fuck? The height of the list, though, you have the 2009-2010 Capitals and the 1929-1930 Boston Bruins, who each won 14 in a row. You have the 2012-13 Penguins and 81-82 Islanders at 15 each. The team that's in second is wild to me. The 2016-17 Columbus Blue Jackets have the second longest winning streak of all time at 16.
That's crazy.
I have no recollection of that whatsoever.
I don't, and I thought the Sharks had a crazy win streak at one point that was like up at least near 12, but obviously not high enough. I thought it was so much more. It was like after they traded for Joe Thornton, they just fucking went off. But I think leading up to that Thornton trade, they had lost like 10 plus in a row, and so maybe I'm misremembering.
Well, I linked you guys the website here because you can sort by record type, and then within that record, you can take a look at longest winning streaks from the start of the season, longest home winning streaks. Records.nhl.com is a website that you can get lost in as a hockey fan for hours upon hours. It is an absolutely absurd resource.
That's crazy.
That's out there. Couple of things really quickly in regards to the Oilers and the Avalanche, because they kind of came up in the talking points here. For the Oilers, we mentioned their 13-game winning streak. Remember when they played the San Jose Sharks in November?
Mm-hmm.
And it was the tank bowl of all tank bowls.
Oh, you know how glorious that win was?
Oh, man.
God, it seems like so long ago. I can't imagine the Oilers ever playing like that, like against the Sharks. Jesus. We shut down McDavid with 6th, 7th defenseman and Mario Ferraro.
Yeah. It is insane how this season has gone from the Oilers, just in terms of the ebbs and flows of the year. It's insane. And if you were to tell me that they win the Stanley Cup this year, I wouldn't necessarily be surprised. Especially with the way they're playing right now.
Yeah,
well, even though they started off so poorly.
They got Perry, so they're going to lose in the finals now.
Well, that was the next talking point.
I will say Chuck Knobloch is now fucking set. You know how many jobs this is going to get him in the future? Holy shit. And it's not even necessarily that I think Woodcroft's a bad coach. I think he's a fantastic coach. It's just sometimes, the source of the voice gets old. Not necessarily what the voice is saying, but sometimes the source gets old. Maybe that's what happened. And you get the new voice in there. Maybe he's not saying anything entirely different, just slightly different, doing slightly different things. And all of a sudden you're like, okay, yeah, we're good.
Two things. The first is Sin went, I don't want to call it going old man, but you mentioned a name. The head coach of the Edmonton Oilers is Chris Knobloch.
Holy fuck, what did I say?
And you mentioned former Minnesota Twin Chuck Knobloch.
No, former New York Yankee Chuck Knobloch.
Yankee and Twin. He played for the Royals too.
He had this batting stance. This fucking batting stance. What a fucking crazy man. Sorry.
Kind of cracked in Cooperstown.
I just knew you'd get a chuckle out of it more than just be like, oh shit, the mistake. And it wasn't even like, oh, I'm worried someone would correct you. I just think it's funny that Chuck Knobloch.
That is funny because I was like, I fucking wonder if he's related. Because who's
That's
named
a good
Knobloch?
question. I actually don't know. Let me look really quickly because now
Chris
I'm intrigued.
Knobloch. What? Yeah, they start with C's too. It's so easy.
Yeah, that was an easy.
Hi, I'm Ben Scully here. Chuck Knobloch up to bat.
Yeah. Okay, so I was looking up Chuck Knobloch, and I didn't find a personal section, but I did find a section on his Wikipedia entitled "Spousal Assaults." So, fuck
Chuck.
you, Chuck.
Chuck, fuck him. All right, yeah. Sorry to
Fuck
Chris.
you and your stupid batting stance. Christ. Well, speaking of questionable things, to say the least, the Oilers signed Corey Perry.
Watch out for your moms, apparently, because that's still going on. The one joke there's one joke every year, for every season in the NHL.
It's funny,
and it just gets prolonged way too long. And this is the one that Corey Perry fucks everyone's mom. Like,
I think it's funny, and I think it's fucking deserved for the
Nick
Blackhawks
Cannon's
and for
hilarious.
the NHL.
Sorry, go ahead. I mean, we talked about this a little bit before the show went live, and we've talked about it on the show before in terms of frustrations. Yeah. It is deserved at this point, though.
Yeah.
The incident, whatever the hell incident was, happened, and people have been completely silent on it, allowing this nonsense to fester. And it went away for a little bit, and now that Corey Perry's back, it's watch out, like Endo said, watch out, moms of Edmonton. Like,
yeah,
this is what you deserve. Again, if there were less than stellar details and things were still being investigated or whatever, sure, you don't have to talk about the details specifically. You didn't mention a fucking thing.
Nope.
It's just one day he was on Chicago and the next day he wasn't. And now he gets to go to the Edmonton Oilers rehabilitation project alongside the likes of Evander Kane.
Yeah, they got Vatanen too, remember?
Man.
Or, wait, Virtanen, sorry. Vatanen, you're
Did they bring in Virtanen?
Yes, they did.
They were thinking of bringing in
absolutely
Jake
signed
Virtanen.
him.
No, they did not. There's no way they signed Jake Virtanen.
Oh, okay. Well, they were negotiating with him. I remember there were open fucking negotiations.
I believe there was a PTO discussed.
Yep. October 2022, he was on a PTO.
Yep.
So they signed
about that.
No, he never played with it. He practiced with them because that's before the season started.
You sign a PTO still.
Yeah,
I don't care if it's not an official NHL contract. They signed him.
Yeah.
Like they
They
okayed.
got cut. It was like a week later he got cut.
Yeah, September 19, 2022.
I guarantee it wasn't because it's playing. It's because of the blowback.
From ESPN's website, the Edmonton Oilers signed Jake Virtanen to a PTO on Monday, 2 months after the Vancouver forward was found not guilty of sexual assault. And then he didn't end up actually playing for the Oilers beyond that PTO. And yeah.
I believe I saw something recently of a player getting a Russian citizenship. I'm not sure if it's him, but a notable Canadian player who was exiled got a Russian citizenship. Let me find this out.
Russia, land of the free.
Home of the Putin.
That's been a thing. Is a lot of dumb white people being like, I'm gonna move to Russia.
Brendan Leipzig was granted Russian citizenship under the decree published on the government's website. And so did U.S. heavyweight boxer Kevin Johnson. Johnson expressed his love for Russia and Russian women. Me too.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, enough sports to go around.
Dudes in sports.
Also, the boxer changed his name to Vladimirovich. Jesus Christ. I ain't going that far. But yeah, he was, because Leipzig was playing in Russian hockey, was playing in the KHL since he was sacked in 2020 over the leak, over the group chat leak.
Yeah, I remember the story.
Yeah. So aside from the Hart Trophy or the Art Ross, in fairness to Corey Perry, I mean, what else is there to mention? Like, he's a veteran, grit, serviceable player, whatever. We don't know what the fuck happened. The NHL's fucking stupid. Most people aren't journalists; they're reporters, and people are too afraid to rock the goddamn boat. The NHL sucks. There we go, done and dusted. The Calder this year, maybe, perhaps a little bit of an opening for somebody after the injury to Connor Bedard to maybe get their name into the conversation, but as it stands, Bedard is on 33 points through 39 games. The next highest point totals are both from the Minnesota Wild, 27 points in 46 games for both Marco Rossi and Brock Faber. And then from there, you're looking at the likes of Adam Fantilli, Luke Hughes, Connor Zary. I mean, Logan Cooley's not quite there.
I mean, it's going to go to Bedard. Doesn't matter.
It is. That you don't have somebody who can rival him like McDavid in his rookie year when he was injured, and you had 24-year-old Artemi Panarin coming over, who was able to get the award.
You have Pavel Mintyukov, but he's not going to have enough points to.
I think he got hurt too.
Yeah, I think so. Oh yeah, did he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's Jesus.
But
defensemen like that are not going to get the same recognition as a Connor Bedard, as good as he is, unless he's going to put up the points. That's just how it works,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right now, for me, I mean, I think if there's anybody that I would look at to be like, okay, if it's not Bedard, it's him. It's Brock Faber. He has stepped into an incredibly tough role for Minnesota, and overall, I think it's one of those things where, like you mentioned, goaltenders like that just aren't going to get the respect, or defenders like that. I was trying to look up goaltenders and the rookie numbers for goalies, but the NHL's primary website sucks.
Yeah, I was stuck on. I was trying to just look up for rookies, and I was just stuck on it buffering. I'm like, or loading. Sorry, it's not a video. It was just fucking loading for like multiple minutes. I'm like, okay, your website sucks, NHL.
Yeah, it's not great sometimes. So no disrespect to any goalies out there.
What happens when your league is run by a bunch of fucking boomers?
Very true. Very, very true. Awards like the Selke are a toss-up. The Hart Trophy, MVP of the regular season. I mean, that's a trophy where it's just, you can get into that whole debate over who it should be and so on and so forth. The Norris. I am intrigued by the Norris, and that is if this friggin' website will cooperate, and it's not going to. So you know what? You know who else wins the NHL awards? Other goddamn people. Because I can't name anybody right now on a cursory glance, aside from mentioning, like, hey, Cale Makar's dope and became the second fastest defenseman to hit 300 points, and he did it in one fewer game than Bobby fucking Orr, which is nuts.
That's him.
So Cale Makar probably for the Norris. But yeah, I mean, there are other sites I can go to, but the fact that I can't go on the NHL's primary website to properly see statistics speaks for itself in a lot of ways, I would say. God, the NHL sucks. Can you even sort by position anymore?
No, I don't think so.
What? Okay, there we go. Jesus Christ. I just want to know. So in terms of defensemen, it's Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar, who are both at 54 and 56 points for Hughes, 54 for Makar. Then maybe like Noah Dobson's in the mix. It's going to be Hughes or Makar. And I mean, right now you probably look at Quinn Hughes as being the favorite because he and his brother Jack were named co-captains for an all-star team. Fun. Woo. Yeah, sorry. NHL's website has ruined the rest of your question, Hulk. But hey, we'll talk more about the awards.
An honorable mention that I'm sure no one has expected to be in this conversation is Noah Dobson.
Mm-hmm.
He's at 1.02 points per game. He's on a sus Islanders team, and he's finally coming into his own. Like Noah Dobson. That's been a name that's been kicking around for a while, and this is just further proof that defensemen, they take a little bit longer to develop sometimes.
I mean, you take one defenseman off of that Islanders defense, you're taking him. A while ago, it would have been Pollock. Like, it's not anymore. It's Noah Dobson is the number one defenseman on that team. I could segue it now, but we won't. We will talk about the Islanders a little bit later on. That is probably the biggest and most intriguing story.
Yes.
And I will say, too, like in regards to the Jack Adams, which I was going to bring up before the site started screwing up, you can always look at the standings. And honestly, you're probably looking at Vancouver.
Yeah, has to be Vancouver.
Vancouver and Winnipeg. One of those two coaches, one of those two GMs. There's your award winners.
Hellebuyck.
Why not Torts? Huh? Look what he's done in Philly. He's turned that team around.
They are 9th in the NHL right now and could very well make the playoffs. If Philly makes the playoffs, Torts is a finalist for the Jack Adams. Easily.
100%.
Didn't they give Babcock the fucking thing for the Leafs making it into the playoffs after completely tanking the season beforehand? Pretty sure.
Let's see. The history of the Jack Adams Award. No victory for Babcock. Thankfully. Not a single win for Mike Dad Babcock.
What?
It's a Steve Dangle podcast meme from back in the day. Yeah. No wins for him. And good. Recent winners include Boston's Jim Montgomery. In 2022, Calgary's Daryl Sutter.
W's.
And you know what? Screw it. In 2014, the Jack Adams winner.
Oh, God.
You remember who it was, everybody?
24. Oh, not 15.
2015 was...
Quenneville
2015 was Bob Hartley for the Calgary Flames.
Yeah. 2014?
Yes.
I got nothing, Brody.
I don't know.
I got nothing.
For the Colorado Avalanche, Patrick Waugh.
What the fuck?
They were this week. They made the playoffs that year, and then they went back to being shit.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah. Patrick Waugh, the new head coach of the New York Islander.
Yes, I was gonna make that same fucking joke. I was waiting for it.
You do it in a better accent than I do, though.
The Islander.
What is this in reference to?
French Canadians.
How the Quebecois can't pronounce fucking anything properly, and literally in French they will just make things English. Like obviously like les Canadiens, right? And then like the Maple Leafs, it's like les Maple Leafs, les Islanders, le Wild. Just the way they pronounce things in Quebecois, and it's not even French; it's Quebecois French. Is you keep it English but put the twang on it. It's really weird.
So I want to talk about this hiring from a couple of different perspectives. First and foremost, let's talk about the Islanders themselves and their current standing, both literally in the standings and just where they are as a franchise right now. They are currently 2 points out of a wild card spot after last night. They won their first game under Patrick Waugh in overtime. Bo Horvat scores the winner. Fun fact about Bo Horvat, this is his third straight season that his coach has been replaced mid-season. It happened twice in Vancouver and now with the Islanders. It's fucking insane. So they're not in a brutal spot, right? Like, you know, they could very well be a playoff team.
It's just thanks to Gary Bettman. They have 11 overtime losses. That's insane. They've lost 26 games and won 20.
That is kind of nuts, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, that's wild how many they've lost in OT or the shootout.
It's like a Toronto stat line, too. Jesus.
Yeah. They are a team that's been in an interesting position over the last couple of seasons, right? Like, they were viewed as a team on the rise that made the playoffs a couple of times.
Conference finals, too.
Then John Tavares leaves. 2019-20 in the bubble. They make it to the conference finals, losing to Tampa. Then the next year, they make it to the conference semifinals, losing to Tampa. And 2021-22, they missed the playoffs. And then last year, they lose in the first round to Carolina. And it's kind of been that frustration, I think, from that fan base of just them not being able to break through. And then this year, despite the fact that they're within striking distance of the playoffs, and it's not normally when you see a coach get sacked, Islanders fans have been furious with the state of the team. That comes down to pretty much one person, their general manager, Lou Lamoriello.
GM of the year.
Attaboy,
GM
Louis.
of the year for life. Now, Lou Lamoriello is one of the greatest minds in hockey ever, right? Like, he is. He is a 3-time Stanley Cup champion. He has experience in hockey. His team staff history page on Elite Prospects is insane. Do you guys know the first year in which he had a notable role with the hockey team?
1969.
Correct.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I was going to say like 71. And he just memes it.
Bang.
1968-69, he was the head coach for Providence College in the NCAA, a position he held until 1983, when he then transitioned over to director of player personnel for 4 years. And then in 1987, he was named president of the New Jersey Devils and served as, at times, president, CEO, and GM for the Devils. Again, from 1987 all the way until 2015.
Basically the head of the dynasty.
Essentially. And was he? I swear he did. He coached. He was the coach on a couple of occasions as well. Like, if he had to fire a coach mid-season, he'd just be like, fuck it, I'll do it.
Jesus.
Oh, God. The post-lockout Devils were something.
Jack of all trades. Oh, my God. We need to
He goes to
downsize
the
our money.
Leafs.
Fuck it, I'll do it.
He goes to the Leafs for 3 seasons as GM, makes way for Kyle Dubas, and since has been GM and president of hockey ops with the Islanders since 2018, 2019.
That man's gonna die, like, during a game. I'm not even joking.
I mean, yeah, he's like 80-something by now, right?
81.
Yeah. Why is he still working, dude?
I don't know.
You're in fucking...
Does he not have a
you're
pension? Like, what the fuck?
You're in Long Island, man. Like, go to a beach. Just chill.
I think he's waiting for a Florida position to open.
Yeah.
That's his retirement. You know, there were talks about, is Lou Lamoriello past his due date before I was born? You know? And then I turned 30 in a month, man.
That's fucking
And
great.
obviously those talks persisted when he was there in Toronto. A lot of people just being like, okay, a lot of the moves that he had made and that the Leafs made at the time. And then, you know, for the Islanders, it's one of those things where it's like, man, if things are going good, you're just like, all right, whatever. He's a legend of the game. Sure, he's old, but hey, we're doing well. But when a team is struggling or there's the sense of stubbornness, it gets to be incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
Right.
His biggest source of stubbornness was the now former head coach of the team in Lane Lambert. Islanders fans were not happy with Lane Lambert for a while as the head coach of that team. Now, it is somebody who I think you could say was very well qualified. Second round pick of the Red Wings in 83. Had some time in the NHL, played overseas a lot. And in terms of being a head coach, he worked his way up. Started in the W, then went to the AHL, was an assistant coach in Nashville, Washington, and then with the Islanders, and then gets a shot as a head coach. But under his tenure as head coach, they went from being a couple wins away from beating the Lightning to missing the playoffs last year, and now, at the time of his firing, being on the outside looking in of the playoff structure. people were ready for Lane Lambert to go.
Yeah, and it's his first head coaching gig in the NHL. And
He'll get 7
he'll
more.
learn from it. He'll learn from it. Yeah.
He'll have plenty of. He's not even 60 yet. He'll have plenty of time to learn. He's a whippersnapper, as Lou Lamoriello would call him in the hockey world. So, yeah, he'll have plenty of other chances. But you look now at the Islanders and just how bizarre it is to say that Patrick Waugh is their head coach.
Wow.
It is fucking weird. He was someone that was rumored for a long time to get another head coaching position once he left Colorado. And then after spending the last 5 years as GM and head coach of the QMJHL's Quebec Ramparts, the entire tenure, it's, when's he coming back and what team is it going to be for? Anytime Montreal had an opening, people are like, Patrick, come home. I can't do a Quebec accent. Endo, say Patrick, come home.
Patrick, viens chez toi à la maison.
There you go.
Patrick, come home. Patrick, number one goalie, number one coach.
You know how there's all those AI generators out there where it's like, oh, you can get like the Undertaker to say whatever the hell you want him to say, and they're kind of wonky. Endo's my AI chat translator, where I just put, what do I want to hear in this accent? Endo, talk like Eki.
Hello, this Eki here. What do you want me to say? Strategies.
Oh, God. It's the best.
Need to change the strategies.
Oh, God. So, with Patrick Waugh, right? Like, right now, obviously, nobody knows how well he's going to do as the head coach of this team, but he made headlines by being filmed in his first practice with the team yelling at people for doing shit wrong, which is the best.
No, the best part about it wasn't even that he was yelling. It was that he had no whistle, no nothing, doing the whoop, with his mouth, the mouth whistles when he wanted to do the drills. It was amazing. It was peak French coach yells at stubborn children. And I'm like, he's probably thinking, God, the fucking Ramparts are better than these motherfuckers.
I thought he was going to go full Roy Kent from Ted Lasso and just yell whistle because he can't whistle. But
I think my favorite part is the discourse on Twitter, because there are some French players on the team, right? And I believe Patrick Waugh says to, I think it's, who is it? Who's the French guy on the team? It's like Samuel Joy or whatever the fuck his name is.
Bolduc?
Yeah, Bolduc. Says the Bolduc's fais ton job, like do your job in French. And it's like, wow, I can't believe he's talking to him like that. He's like, that's your coach. Wouldn't you want your coach to tell you to do your job? Granted, it's in fucking French, but the same way, that's his native language. Like, fais ton, if my head coach told me to fais ton job and I understand do your job, I'd fucking do my job too. You gotta set the tone, set the passion there. And apparently that they're trading that they only lasted 15 minutes. So if your coach is going to yell at you in the beginning of the thing, like set the tone, like this is how I'm going to be, this is what I'm going to be if I'm not on your ass, then like, fuck, man. Like, and the players were saying they liked that. They appreciated that he was there to set the tone and, tell them how he's going to be if things are going to go right. I'd rather have a guy like that who I'd want to run through a fucking wall for, rather than a guy who's kind of passive, just letting us do whatever,
And it's Patrick Waugh.
I gotta find this video. Someone sent it to me.
Like, he is...
I'll find it.
A Jack Adams winner. He is a multiple-time Stanley Cup champion, for God's sakes. Like, if there's anybody that can get away, like, that's with it, right? Like, that's the benefit of having a former player as a coach, especially if it's someone who's accomplished, because there isn't a single player in that locker room who can have the attitude of I know better. In a way, I mean, I guess you could see it like, oh, if I feel like he's out of touch or something like that. But, I don't know if you're saying that about 58-year-old Patrick Waugh. But I'm intrigued. Like, there's a lot of people who have the viewpoint of like, oh, this could be a shit show or something like that. I don't think it's going to be a shit show. It might not be successful, but just because his last highlight was him and Bruce Boudreau yelling at one another,
and pushing
just because
down
that's
the glass,
shoving the stanchion like between the benches. Just because that was his last highlight and he's a fiery individual doesn't necessarily mean I think it's going to go down in flames. But at the same time, if you were to tell me that, oh, Patrick Waugh's tenure is going to end because he decided to fight Matt Martin in the locker room, I also somehow wouldn't be surprised. So, at least for the Islanders, it's different. And it's attempting to change something, which I'd say they needed. Overall, I mean, especially I know the Islanders fans that, frequent the Twitch chat on a nightly basis. They are ecstatic over this change. So,
yeah, sometimes any change is good. And then when you get a legend like that, that's going to give a big boost. And especially if it's like a completely polar opposite coaching style or just a polar opposite vibe, that's what's needed sometimes. So best of luck to the Isles for sure.
Now that's what now you capped it off so perfectly there, but you said something I have to respond to. Talking about the style, I think that Islanders roster, though, is in a really good spot in that Patrick Waugh could take it whatever way he wanted to. Does he want the team to play more physical? They have the pieces to do that. Does he want the team to have a little bit more skill? I mean, I do think they have pieces to pull that off. Barzal, Horvat, Brock Nelson's underrated in his point production. You have Noah Dobson, a great offensive weapon, especially for the power play from the blue line. Yeah. And while it hasn't been the best season, I do still think they have arguably one of the best goaltenders in the world. I think maybe you're looking at Connor Hellebuck has reclaimed the title of best goaltender in the world. Sorokin, by the way, who was on the last year of a deal at $4 million before his extension of 8 years at 8.25 kicks in. So it's interesting that, it's like Patrick Waugh, goaltending. I don't think he needs to help out the goaltending much. I think it's everybody else that needs to kind of figure things out. Like, you got the guy in net, you're fine. It's just, can you figure out everything else? So, there's that. Couple of other things here. Let's get back to a viewer question here. We'll segue away from hockey for a brief couple of minutes here as an intermission, so to speak, because Reds Rebels asks, who is the best story of the NFL playoffs and why is it the Detroit Lions?
It's not the Detroit Lions. It is. All right. Well, you guys go first.
No. Who is it?
It's the Chiefs still, because Taylor Swift is bringing all kinds of new eyes to the sport of football. Do you guys know how many people watch the NFL on Peacock?
Yes, like 26 million or some shit like that.
Yeah, 27 million, I believe, was the
figure.
A
lot of people.
On a paid platform.
Paid fucking platform. And that's not even all counting all the illegally streamed people. As much as people, Jesus, like there's the very, not, I'm probably big, but not as big as hopefully it seems they are, portion of the fan base who hate the fact that a woman is enjoying sports or a woman is at a sporting event and she's getting attention. Like, that pisses them off.
Dude, there was a tweet I saw during the Chiefs-Bills game, which we'll talk about a little bit in a second, where someone's like, oh, you love that Travis's brother Jason is, and not to say that's all Jason Kelce is known for, but in that instance, it was, hey, here's the brother of Travis Kelce supporting his brother in the stands, drinking shirtless.
Yeah,
hopping out of the box into the upper stands.
Hell yeah.
And like cheering. That's fine. Yeah. But Taylor Swift is shown dancing with Patrick Mahomes' wife, and some people lost their fucking minds. It's like, could you make it less obvious what you're trying to say here when you say that one's okay and one's not?
God, man. There's a video of just Taylor Swift walking to like the arena, and someone says Bills by 1,000. And then she blows a kiss into the crowd, and she keeps walking by. And people are livid in the replies, like, look at this, she's like making this all about her or whatever. I'm like, dude, she's just supporting her man and enjoying football. Isn't that the American dream? To be a self-made millionaire, to have money and wealth, and to be able to support yourself, and to be stable, and to enjoy football. I don't fucking know. I'm a Canadian, so is that what the American dream is?
No,
because that's what it seems like it is.
Not
Except
if you're a woman. No,
yeah, exactly.
You have to be in a trad dress barefoot in the fucking kitchen, and you have to have a social media. The most fame you can have is a social media platform while you do these weird things of what your security measures are while your husband is away.
Oh my god, I saw that shit, and I'm like, what the hell?
You ever notice how they're always wearing all white and they're barefoot?
People suck. But that is the point, though, right?
Yes.
In regards to, like, what do these people want or expect? That they also want to be coddled and not have it thrown in their face that somebody could be doing better than them from what they view as important. Fame, money, whatever.
Yeah, and it's so wild. They're like, she's using the NHL for attention. Buddy, she's bigger than the NFL. Yeah. Taylor Swift is bigger than the NFL. She's bigger than the sport of football. American football. If you have the NFL hold a game in Thailand, but Taylor Swift holds a concert, who's putting more asses in seats? Yeah. Taylor fucking Swift. Like people, yeah, it's nuts. And you know what? The reason why the NFL is showing her so much, and because they need her. The NHL needs her. She doesn't need the NFL. The NFL needs her because she's driving up ratings. She's bringing in a whole new audience to get invested in the sport of football. And if you're about the growth of the sport, if you're a fucking football purist, you should be about the sport growing and new eyes to be on it to learn the sport. But it's not. There's this weird fucking gatekeeping mentality of if people don't do it my way, the way I believe, blah. And then those are the same people that call everyone else, communists and shit and authoritarian and oh my god.
They call it woke. Sorry, they call it woke.
Yeah. On a side note, Charlie Arsenault, previously of Game Over Ottawa for SDPN, which by the way, I'm looking forward to having on the show at some point. I think I talked to Audie James as well, who had done the Calgary ones. We're gonna have those boys on at some point this season. Charlie put up a post. The UFC held an event in Toronto.
Yep.
This past weekend. And it's turning into a very right-leaning sport, the UFC.
No.
I thought it always was.
UFC is the company.
No.
I mean, it was, but it was never as brazen and brash about it as it is now.
Huh.
To the point where they're carting out Donald Trump and Tucker Carlson to sit cage side and putting a spotlight on him for it.
Like that for like 4 years now.
Being in Canada, well, yeah, but I mean, 4 years is still relatively recent in their history. I mean, they've been around since '93. They held an event in Canada, and I find it funny that a lot of people there who are probably the ones that have the opinion of keep politics out of sports had no problem in mass chanting "fuck Trudeau."
No,
ironic, I'm sure. It's just a coincidence. It's fine.
As a Canadian, I will say this. A lot of people really don't like Trudeau because they don't understand how the judicial system works here in Canada. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Well, they don't understand how it works in America either.
Yeah.
So don't worry.
We're one and the same. So obviously, like last night was the Chiefs-Bills game, and a lot of people rigged for the Chiefs, rigged for the Chiefs. The Bills choked. They did. They choked. There were just too many big plays that didn't even involve the officials. Josh Allen threw the prettiest pass of all time last night. I showcased this on stream. He threw the ball of dreams. I'll try to find it here and link it for you guys. Just literally the prettiest goddamn pass of all time that a supposed number one receiver couldn't catch.
Where's the link?
In the form of Stephon Diggs. There were other missed plays. They went for a fake punt on 4th down earlier in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's me. That's what I do.
Like, yeah. Like, I'm sorry, but like, it was the officiating bad. Of course it was. Does it probably favor the freaking Chiefs in some ways? Probably. But the Bills blew it. I mean, it sucks that they blew it fucking wide right. That would be like the Patriots blowing another fucking Stanley Cup final in 13 seconds. It's like, oh, they did it again somehow. Or getting reverse swept again, like they were in 2010. It was a fun game to watch, but they fucking choked. That's the only thing I could say is they fucking choked. Like, they panicked and didn't want to leave Mahomes. Too much time left on the clock. They choked. Is what it is. Which you could call a story of the playoffs. I mean, the story is the Lions at this point, right? Because Chiefs, Ravens, Niners, and then Lions. One of those teams is not like the others, you know? And I'm all in on rooting for the Detroit Lions from here. I mean, given the fact that the other three have all won a championship in the last 25 years.
I don't know. I'm going to vote for the best quarterback in the game.
That's fair.
You know what? Because I want a really, really talented QB to be hopefully surpass the really, really pretty good one. That's the best with a lot of rings. I'm sorry. I can't help but throw barbs at Brady. He was great. But
literally the best.
Yeah.
Now obviously
I want Mahomes there though. He's fucking sick.
I hope he goes to the Super Bowl too and loses to Detroit. There you go. We can both have it our way. Sin, you and I were texting a lot during the Niners-Packers game.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you know, we've talked about that over the last couple of years, right? Like your NFL fandom wavering a little bit, but always being.
I slowly eased back into it over the course of this year, pretty much.
Yeah.
The whole Aaron Rodgers debacle, even though he's fucking gone and has been, like, it really soured. That combined with just the fact that they just never, when he's in his prime, they did not build a team around him ever. Then they never fucking trade the retriever. Yes, God. Like, we got Aaron Rodgers. Let's just throw a bunch of fucking Division II college guys out there. They'll be fine.
I mean, hey, it worked
you're
for
not
Brady.
Belichick.
What do you mean Mike McCarthy isn't Bill Belichick? What do you mean?
Oh my God. Yeah. So, and here's the thing. There were some bad fucking calls in that game that went against the Packers. You know why they lost? They missed a field goal. And they failed to finish 2 drives early in the game. That's still the encompassing factor. There are 2 really shitty spots on balls, and do not get me started why we still use like the spotting and the fucking chains to measure first downs. Holy hell, what year is this? Every other sport we're pissing and moaning that it's too precise in the NHL, these offside challenges. We get it down to the fucking pixel. And here's the NHL trotting out the chain gang in the year of our Lord 2024. Where's the index card? Where's the fucking index card? Sure, but you missed a field goal.
Your complaint to the NFL?
No, dude, I gotta send a telegram.
Ah, yes. The old carrier pigeon, the best way to contact. Roger Goodell. Oh God! But it was at least fun texting with you during the Packers game, even if it didn't go.
Yeah, Jordan Love's got a lot to work on. He's got potential, but I ain't comfortable.
And this was his first year as a starter, though.
I know, and I think I said this on one of the last podcasts. I'm so jaded by just what I've had to watch from my team in the way of quarterbacks. Yep. You go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, and then you're like, all right, who's the next guy?
Yeah. Colts fans went through it, although granted they got to go from Manning to Luck. And then even after Luck, it's like, oh shit, what do we have? Patriots fans are going through it right now in regards to, you know.
I think we forget how good Bledsoe was too.
That's fair. Yeah.
He wasn't like, I would say he was like a step below franchise. Maybe he was fucking elite though.
The Patriots, this is probably their worst run of quarterbacks in like 30 years because they went from obviously before there was Brady, Bledsoe, a couple of different combinations in there in the late 80s, early 90s, but Steve Grogan was the primary guy throughout the 80s, and he's a pretty underrated quarterback in his career. He was he's a Patriots Hall of Famer, but I think he led the league in passing touchdowns in like the late 70s at one point. So I mean, it's been a while since they, and then even then, like Doug Flutie was there in the 80s.
Back when the forward pass was illegal in the NFL. You can't pass till third down. It's fucking illegal.
Oh, God. Damn. It's been a while since the Patriots have had uncertainty in regards to the playoffs. That's for sure. Or the quarterback position. Certainly since the playoffs. They're going to continue to have uncertainty surrounding the playoffs. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah, I think they got a little bit. I think they got certainty in the quarterback position. It's just you're certain that he's not fucking it.
God damn it.
Sorry, Mac. Sorry, Tougie.
I'm keeping that Mac Jones jersey, though. Mainly because the shipping would cost more than what I could get for the jersey itself.
I'll probably get a love jersy if he continues to develop. I just fucking hell, that last
don't jinx it too early.
Doing? I'm going to throw off my back foot. I'm going to throw off my back foot instead of checking it down. God damn it.
Oh, God. Anyway.
Would have been a sick fadeaway, though. Fuck it.
You're not him yet.
Down.
Damn it.
He's on fire.
He threw some dots in that game, and then he just does shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Young quarterbacks. That's what they do, for the most part. Most of them.
Yeah.
So, there you go, everybody. Our weekly football talk segment, at least up until the NFL playoffs are over, because the NFL playoffs have been fucking awesome so far. And more interesting than most of what's going on in the NHL. To that point, the only other real talking point that we have that's of a modern, like currently ongoing situation is what's happening with the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah.
Shane Pinto is back after his mammoth suspension. Signed for the rest of the year at League Min. And I'm sure he'll help out a lot for one of the worst teams in the league. The Sens are tragic this year. And a lot of thought was like, hey, DJ Smith, he's a part of the problem. He might have been a part of the problem, but he wasn't the only problem, because they have statistically gotten worse in a lot of different aspects since firing DJ Smith.
Yep.
They are currently the 5th worst team in the league, only ahead of Columbus, Anaheim, Chicago, and San Jose.
It'd be really cool if you could like click on a team in the NHL app and it would take you to that team. Jesus Christ. Okay. Keep going. Sorry.
The app is so fucking bad, too.
So bad, man.
Oh, man. Apparently, TSN's reporting the Senators are expecting Vladimir Tarasenko, or they're expected to ask Tarasenko to waive his no movement clause. You know, he signed there for the year. There's a lot of talk about Jake Chychrun as well. This is a team that was viewed as like, oh, playoffs this year. We got to make the playoffs this year. And now they're talking about selling away pieces. They have some rough contracts in there, some extensions that they signed.
Like, there's some obvious ones to get traded. Tarasenko.
Yeah.
If I was them, though, I'd start looking at Shabbat.
Shalom. Oh,
like
Shabbat.
I think
not Shabbat.
God, why'd they have to get Hamonic too? Shabbat, I think, okay, if you're gonna make a change, go with a core piece. And there's a time when it was like you wouldn't think of like trading Shabbat, Hot Sambacho. But at this point, shit. I think it's gonna take something like that. I don't want to see them make the Leafs mistake and fall in love with their core and keep running it back.
God,
because something's clearly wrong with the vibes.
What do you mean? The Leafs are fine.
The core, whatever number.
The core 4, 5, 6, 7.
I don't know.
The core 4 under the floorboards with Harrison Ford.
They're like so young, though. I think that's part of the problem. Is like They're so young. I think they're almost, if there's a thing like too young and too much responsibility too early,
Maybe. Yeah.
maybe even too much money too early. All right, who are their centermen or what? Stutzla? Norris is listed as one, right? Ridley Grigg.
Cap Friendly has their centers as Norris, Stutzla, Pinto, and Sharks legend Rourke Chartier.
So we talked
reaction.
about when we were going over all the prospects about how like centermen take a while to figure out how to win faceoffs. Bedard, I'm sure, has a horrible faceoff percentage, but he's going to keep getting played at center. Matthews entered the league. I'm pretty sure he was like 30% in the faceoff dot, but they
Jack
kept
Hughes
playing
is
him.
still like sub 40%.
Yeah, like it takes a while to learn how to win faceoffs, but centerman or centerman. The biggest problem I see here is like, who are these guys learning from?
Mm.
Giroux did play center. I don't know why he's just like a full-time winger now.
He's
Maybe
still
he
a
never
face-off god too when he takes draws.
I don't get it. Like, why isn't put him at fucking center and teach those kids? Like, I don't know. I think it seems like they committed to the core, and then they're like, just like, okay, go do it. And I don't know. It just, something's wrong. Clearly, something is wrong. And I wish I had the answer. I'm sure Sens fan wish someone had the answer. Yeah,
I have a guess. Their defensive structure isn't great, but goaltending can succeed even in spite of a bad team in front of them. It's been done before. Trust me. Look up some of Antti Ranta's numbers on the Coyotes
Oh,
in
man.
2015 era.
God.
The goaltending this season for the Sens. Jonas Korpisalo, making $4 million for 3 years after this, has a .356 goals against average and an .887 save percentage.
That's not good.
Anton Forsberg, who makes $2.75 this year and next, has a .335 goals against average and an .889 save percentage. And then their young goalie prospect, Madge Sogard, has played 2 games, has a .458 goals against average and an .845 save percentage.
You know who they need? They need AHL PTO superstar Kazimir Kaskasuo, who's got 4 wins, 0 losses, 1.95 goals against average, and a 9.46 save percentage.
I don't know. I think they need Elvis Merzlikins. Just throw a lot of money at another goaltender.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right?
I mean, a cost-friendly option would be grab a guy like Cass off of PTO and sign him to a contract. But
It's
all
all
he's
those
currently
times
with
of just-
Laval.
All those times of just giving up on goalies and going out and spending a bunch of money on another one is just haunting them now. They don't have the guy. They've never had the guy in such a long time, but jeez.
God, when's the last great Ottawa Senators goaltender?
Honestly, it's
Ray
for me.
Emery?
It's Craig
Craig
Anderson.
Anderson,
That's fair.
It has to be. And look how long ago that was.
Andrew Hammond.
Like, I'm even thinking when they made the conference finals, like way back, like it was fucking Gerber in net.
Yeah.
Gerber, Hammond, who went on that fucking hot streak, who retired last year.
Yeah.
Like,
They have such
Damn.
an up and down goalie history.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like in the past few years, since Craig Anderson alone, who last played in 2020, Hogberg, DeCord, who's now killing it in Seattle,
Yep.
Matt Murray, Philip Gustafson, who's doing all right in Minnesota, Cam Talbot, who's destroying worlds in Los Angeles.
Yep.
Bunch of young dudes. But even before Craig Anderson was done, you had Hammond, but then you had Nathan Lawson. You had Robin Leonard, but then you had Danny Taylor.
Fuck, I forgot about Robin Leonard. God.
You had Pascal Leclerc, Brian Elliott. Like they have a really interesting goaltending history.
Fucking channel legends, dude. Pascal Leclerc and Brian
It's true.
Elliott.
That's true.
2K10 legends.
Fucking all-stars.
Pizza. The real Pizza Gate.
Well, we have an episode title.
Oh, no.
we cannot put that.
You know how many hits we're gonna get from fucking crazy people, and then they're gonna hear 2 seconds of
Jesus
us being
Christ.
pinkos, and they're gonna go
Perfect.
ape shit.
Yeah, perfect.
Listen,
Why not?
I already got enough people on my ass. I don't need any more. Okay.
Fair enough. Yeah, the sentence. Final thoughts from me. You probably shouldn't. No disrespect. We don't want to be abusive towards the elderly, but Jacques Martin's 71 years old. Let him go enjoy Cabo or something.
Like, why was that the answer? I would get a young
Let him go to
coach for
Florida.
all the fucking young team.
Right. Shit, bring back Guy Boucher, his freaking James Bond villain looking ass. Like, do something. I don't know if you want Craig Berube. I don't know if he's a fit for the team.
Barbecue Bruce. Let him go back in. He was fine
Bruce,
with the
there it
winning record.
is. Come
Yeah.
on. Barbecue Brucey. Anyway, shout out to the Sens. Couple other things to discuss here really quickly. We have 3 questions, essentially. The first is a viewer question. Comes from Anton Roussel himself. Comes from Roussel, who's a big fan of Anton Roussel. If you could go back in time and prevent one trader signing in NHL history from happening, what would you choose and why? I feel like we can preface it by saying that we can make it more centric towards our favorite teams. Because
No.
unless you got one league history-wise.
Mm-hmm, I do.
What do you
Connor
got?
Bedard should have told the Blackhawks no. I wish that happened so fucking bad. It was never gonna happen. But if I could undo one thing, I would have him full Eric fucking Lindros. Be like, no, I'm not gonna play for this team, this organization who covered up sexual assault. Are you kidding me? I'm the best prospect since McDavid.
I can't disagree. That is probably the go-to.
God.
Endo, did anything spring to mind for you? It's a lot to cover.
The July 5th, 2013 signing of David Clarkson.
Oh, don't touch his fucking water bottle, Endo.
God. Toronto Sun was calling him Wendell Clarkson. God. His first fucking game was the line pro at the Sabres.
Mm-hmm. Where he jumped off the bench and got suspended
Yeah.
in the preseason.
And then Toronto was in love with him from that point on until they weren't. Same
It
with
was
Reeves.
great.
You ever see that training camp video? Like Domi and Reeves were like doing a little puck battle in the corner and smiling. Everyone fucking filled their jocks up. Just tweeting about that. Oh my God, the Leafs have never had this. They're going to teach everyone to dig in the corners. And they fucking hate them 2 weeks later.
No, what ended up
Domi's
happening
useless. What's Reeves doing? He fought once in here.
is no one wants
Ryan
to-
Reeves, by the way, who's in the headlines right now
Cooked.
for insisting that he has been healthy for weeks despite still being on the IR and being quoted as saying, I hate it that he's been healthy scratched.
And then something came out that I saw where apparently he can't play without having 2 braces on his knees.
Yeah, he's got to pop his knees back in place and shit.
Yeah, he's like, I can't play without my braces because if I play, I have to, and I make a wrong turn with my knees, I have to pop my knees back in place. My brother
How'd
in
they
Christ,
give
that
this
is
guy
not.
3 years, dude. For living is
Christ.
so ass, man.
Jesus.
That money could have went to someone else.
Yeah,
That
and I know
money-
there's people like, it's just 1.3 mil. When you're against the cap.
For 3 years.
When you're against the cap. You know you
That-
could have had for that money?
The fucking Klingberg signing.
Sam
kept
Lafferty.
You could have kept.
True.
He's great.
Could have kept Lafferty. I think the only like good signing he's had has been Dubois, but I mean he's basically been like a
You mean
not
Benoit?
Dubois, sorry, Benoit, the
Simone
other
Benoit.
Benoit, not Chris.
Pierre-Luc
Dubois.
Benoit and Simone Dubois.
Fucking Frenchman, all your names sound alike.
It's too much.
That
But yeah,
Nick.
So
Great.
for me, don't know if I have a great answer. Like, my initial thought as a Bruins fan was the Joe Thornton trade, which, by the way, Jumbo getting his number retired by the Sharks.
Yeah, I'm
Next
surprised we
season.
didn't talk about that already.
We were going to. And actually the next thing I was going to bring up, but I figured I could mention Joe Thornton off of this, so why not? Anything to mention specifically about Jumbo, Sin? While I try to think of something here.
I mean, this was absolutely going to come. He is a goddamn gem of a player, gem of a human, one of the best players in the NHL of all time, despite the NHL's top 100 list. Clowns. Yeah, and what did so much for this franchise. Obviously we'd never won a cup with him, but his impact, it should say something that we're going to retire 2 players who never actually won a cups, but they had such a huge impact on this organization. Like it is just, they were just, and Jumbo in particular, man, just so good, man. Prime Jumbo. Like, I don't know if people can like really comprehend just how dominant he was.
Mm-hmm.
And he was never a great skater. He was never awful, but like he was dominant. You could not knock him off the puck, and he had just vision for days and a hell of a shot when he actually used it.
Obviously for me, like the Joe Thornton thing, I wouldn't revert that trade. They didn't get as good of a return as they should have.
It's a Kevin. You're doing good. Wayne Primo. Marco Sturm. Marco.
You there? Oh, God. I wouldn't change it because it led to the Bruins having the big off seasons that brought in Savard, Chara, led to more time for Bergeron, Kessel, Krejci. So that is what it is. Like, I wouldn't revert that. I mean, the Bedard thing. Like, all I can think about is from like how humorous it would be, because trading wise, it's really tough, especially in recent memory. So I got to be honest. I got to be. Oh, got it. It didn't say players. Nope. You know what? Never mind. I was gonna revert Columbus signing Mike Babcock. No, they deserve to sign him and now be bottom 5 in the league. They deserve that. So never mind. You go ahead and you wear that L right on your fucking forehead, Columbus. I got nothing in regards to this. I'm intrigued to see what people can come up with, but Kovalchuk to the Devils. That way maybe the Thrashers stay in Atlanta because they keep their fucking superstar. Aside from that, I'm not sure. Oh, signing. Does it have to be a contract? I would stop Ted Turner's company from selling the Thrashers to the Atlanta Spirit, who ruined the fucking team and got them moved to Winnipeg. There you go.
Bam.
There you go. Now, we mentioned some of our favorite aspects about our teams. We mentioned Thornton. I was going to bring up Thornton because I saw a question on Reddit that I wanted to ask you guys.
Man.
The question was, what is your I'm never going to get over this loss as a sports fan? And I think this was asked because of the Bills. Now, for Sin, I was going to say, hey, Joe Thornton. But for the Sin, for the Sin.
I am the Sin. The Sin.
The Sin Bin podcast. Once I just like, here, take this podcast.
Yeah.
I don't want it anymore.
I don't want it.
As a sports fan that encompasses every team that you've rooted for, I still imagine, though, the Sharks is like the biggest source of pain. And I would imagine it's Sharks Kings from the mid-2010s.
It's tough. There's been a lot of them.
Because you've talked about your history as a Packers fan. You've talked about your history as a fan of the Oakland A's.
Yeah.
There's been some heartbreaks in there.
There has been. The thing about the A's is you can never be truly heartbroken because they were never fucking supposed to do anything.
Fair.
Like, Packers, there have been some real shit losses and stuff like that. But yeah, it has to be the Sharks just because of how dominant they were. Yeah, the reverse sweep has to be it because the Kings went on to win the cup.
Mm-hmm.
And that literally could have been the Sharks. And it should have been.
Yeah.
You cannot lose 4 straight. Yeah, it's close. Obviously, the losing in 6 to Pittsburgh really hurts. But like at the same time, it's like that was the last chance. And Thornton and Marlowe were not the same players they once were at that point in their career. They just simply weren't. And blowing it to the Kings like that with them in their prime, with the team that we had, with what happened, how the Kings went on to win it all. Yeah, I don't think I ever really get over that because it's, first of all, you get put in the fucking history books for the wrong reason. Second of all, the Kings, like I said, they went on to win. It's not no guarantee the Sharks did, but like at the same time, that was a road that the Sharks could have beat. Yeah, it's. Whew.
Yep. Let it out, buddy. Let it out.
I'm depressed now. There were so many heartbreaking playoff losses for the Sharks throughout all that time. They got like more manageable, but they were all shit. Like losing to the Blues sucked, and the Blues go on to win the cup. I doubt we would have beat Boston, but
imagine that series.
Yeah, I was so hoping for that. But yeah.
Endo, you'll never get over this loss as a sports fan. Is it the 2013 Toronto Maple Leafs?
It's not. This is going to come as a it's a combo. It's a 1-2 punch because you'll understand in a second.
This lovely, delicious cold
hot
combo.
So, when the league restarted, back in 2020 because of COVID, there was the NHL play-in where the Toronto Maple Leafs played against the Columbus Blue Jackets, and they lost the final game in that series 1-0. Jack Campbell was crying because he said he should have done better. I think out of anyone,
that man,
out of everyone on that team, he took it the most. Not anyone on the core 4, not our fucking captain.
He doesn't say
missed
anything.
on a wide open net, hit the post, wide open cage, could have tied the game, go to overtime. Who knows what could happen over there? Then, months later, when they do the draft for the number 1 pick and Alexis Lafreniere, the Toronto Maple Leafs ball hits the fucking post inside the lottery draft ball, like inside there, hits the post 3 times, comes back out, and then the New York Rangers ball goes whoop right up, just right up there. That is a moment that I will never forget as a Leafs fan, because we had protected top 10
a medieval insult,
and we would have had Alexis Lafreniere if we didn't hit the post, not only on the ice, but in the fucking machine. And I mean, it seems like he dodged a bullet. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
Maybe he would have been better.
Maybe.
I think it would have been better in that system.
Yeah, he would have been so much better in that system. Let's be real.
For me, there's a couple of different ones to think about.
You got a lot.
Yeah.
I have 2 that I think it's going to be, but I'll see what he says.
Well, I'll throw the wild card out there of a Liverpool mentioned with the Steven Gerrard slip, but I did get over that because Liverpool ended up winning the league, which is great. It's down to Bruins or Patriots, and then it's down to which ones.
How could it be Patriots? They won so much.
Eli Manning.
Yeah, he owns them, but like you still won 7 or 6. I could have been more. You sound like me pining about the Packers quarterbacks. You sound like me pining about the Packers quarterbacks at this point.
2007. 1 win away from a perfect season. the greatest season of all time. Tom Brady, Randy Moss, every Patriots fan is full mast. And they lose because of David fucking Tyree with the most ridiculous goddamn catch. It's not the only reason that they lost, but that perfect season. And I look at that as a source of frustration because there is a member of the only team to ever go undefeated and win the Super Bowl, which is the Miami Dolphins. They, granted, had less games to play and everything. The Patriots actually, at 17-0, had more wins. They just didn't win the title. And this son of a bitch pops up out of the woodwork every goddamn year. Mercury Morris. Like fucking a groundhog on Groundhog's Day. Whenever the last undefeated team in the NFL loses, he pops his fucking head up to be like, still the best! And then he goes away again. Fuck you, Mercury Morris. I hate you. I fucking hate you so much. God damn it. I've never seen a bigger troll in their 70s than Mercury goddamn Morris. So that's
Oh my
the
God, he
Patriots
looks
one.
incredible.
Fucking hate him. Oh God. For the Bruins, there's a couple. It would have been the 2010 reverse sweep loss to the Flyers, but they won the cup the next year, so it's fine. It's down to 2. It could be more than 2, but there's 2. 2013 against Chicago or 2019 against St. Louis. And it's 2019 against St. Louis.
Wow.
Because in
I would have
2013...
thought you tried to avoid the recency bias. Okay.
So here's how I'm viewing it. 2013 was only Game 6. If you flip that result and the Bruins don't blow it in 13 seconds, you go to Game 7 in Chicago, who the hell knows what happens? Maybe Jaromir Jagr races the Stanley Cup at United Center. It'd be amazing. 2019 was at home. The Bruins raising the Stanley Cup if they win that game in their own building.
Yeah, that's true.
You know? Because for the Red Sox, they win in 2004, they won it in St. Louis. They win in 2007. I'm going to sound like an asshole here. They win in 2007. They won it in Colorado. 2013, though, they won it at Fenway. And that felt different. You know, like the freaking Bambino curse being broken was special. They beat the Colorado Rockies. Like the Rockies were good that year, especially Todd Helton, like a rookie Troy Tulowitzki. But it's the Rockies. No disrespect. I like the Rockies. There's mainly because I like playing there and Road to the Show and launching 700-foot nukes.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't remember which road to the Show it was, but you could get like a power that made every single fucking stadium like that for you. I had that all the time. I'm like, oh my God. I was fucking not even like, I got to the point where my guys, decked out and I'm like not fully connecting with balls, like pop flying them, but they would just go out.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh shit. It's 2019 for the Bruins. Like it's just different if you win that cup on home ice. I don't even. Let's see. When is the last time? I forget what year it is. The Boston Bruins won the Stanley Cup at home. I think it's the 30s. When was the last time the Bruins won the Stanley Cup? I can't find the time that they won at home. I think it was 41. Like, them winning at home would have been something. And instead, 31 other teams get to enjoy Brad Marchand crying, which I totally understand you enjoying that, because that was the same look on his face was the look on my face when he went for that line change at the end of the first period. It's just, it's just one that you can't forget. And again, I've always said it. If the Bruins weren't playing the Blues, I would have been like, cool, the Blues win the cup. That's awesome. And it would have been a great story. But, Yeah. Anyway, we have fun. The final thing I wanted to discuss was there was a graphic out that showcased every team's last MVP. And I want to throw it to a quick little quiz for y'all to see how many you can get as a team. All right? As a team. So, first and foremost, teams with no MVP award winners: Arizona, Calgary, kind of surprising, like the Newendikes, the Iginlas, the Kippersofts, Carolina,
Makes
Columbus,
sense.
Dallas,
Seattle.
Florida, Minnesota, Nashville, Seattle, Vegas, Winnipeg, and Ottawa. Most of those make sense.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, who was the last MVP for the Anaheim Ducks?
Ryan Getzlaff.
Nope.
Close, but no. I have a
Wait,
hint available.
MVP. MVP.
And
These are all
like
skaters.
Hart Trophy, right?
Art trophy. Yep.
Okay.
Jay Shiger.
No. We
Maybe it's
talked
just
about him
Conn Smythe
earlier
I'm
today.
thinking of.
Jonas Hiller.
Corey Perry, really?
Corey Perry
Wow.
Lol.
is the Ducks' most recent Hart Trophy winner.
You could call him a heartthrob. Ha 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 ha. Sorry.
Ha! Ha!
Ah.
Good stuff.
But yeah, Corey Perry won the award in the 2010-11 season, which is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
The Boston Bruins' last MVP.
Boston
I have a
Bruins.
hint available.
David Pasternak.
Incorrect.
Damn it.
Give me a hint.
We talked about him on this show.
Huh. It's Marchand?
Ratthew Marchand.
We talked.
Joe Thornton.
Joe.
Oh,
Because
he won it there? Oh, no, because the year he came over the...
Yes.
Fuck you! That doesn't count. No, Shark. That's a Shark award. Fuck you.
Literally, shark.
Bullshit. No, that doesn't count.
It's
No.
how they officially marked it down.
No.
I agree that it
Kevin
shouldn't
Bacon
be.
wasn't in Footloose. No,
No,
you lose.
he also serves as the Sharks' most recent winner as well.
Yeah.
The only winner for the Sharks,
Honestly, it should have been fucking Carlson last year. Jesus. How did
probably.
he make that team not last place?
For the Buffalo Sabres. Any guess?
Dominic Hasek.
Correct.
There you go.
Like, who the fuck else would it be?
1998. Chicago.
Oh, their last Hart winner?
Yeah.
Gross. It'll be like...
Taves.
No, it's got to be Kane.
Patrick Kane.
That's gotta be Kane.
That's
Taves didn't
gotta
put up
be
enough
Kane.
points.
There's a clip running around that the Deadlock Wrestling Podcast has shared a lot.
Is it the DX?
And it's Kane being introduced on like a SmackDown in 2001. But Lillian Garcia was doing the ring announcing, and somehow she said Kane, but it sounded like she said Steve.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Because normally she'd be like Kane, and somehow you listen to it, it sounds like she goes Steve. I need to find the clip. Oh, it's incredible. Colorado
quiz more
Avalanches.
MVPs. This is fun.
Oh,
Colorado.
man.
Oh, their last MVP?
Yes.
Ooh.
Who's that
I'm-
guy
I'm
who's like
overthinking
out
it.
for a
Yeah.
while right now?
What's that?
Landeskog?
Landeskog.
Incorrect. He is
Yeah, it's not.
vaccinating though. Good for him.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Your hint:
Um,
2002, 2003.
Joe Sakic. No, fucking Peter Forsberg.
Endo.
Oh, God
Which one?
damn it. Oh.
It's probably Forsberg, isn't it?
Correct. Peter Forsberg.
Yeah, we did it.
Forsberg.
High five.
Forsberg.
Me
The
one against
Detroit
you.
Red Wings.
It's either
Right.
fucking Lindstrom or Zetterberg.
No and no.
No, it's
Wow.
Datsuk.
No.
What?
What?
1993-94.
Oh. Whoa, Stevie Y.
No.
Fucking Steve Stais? I don't know.
Steve!
Who is it? In 92, 93, Shanahan? He wasn't
No.
there at that point. I don't know then.
Future Anaheim Mighty Duck.
I
Oh,
have no idea.
Newendike.
Sergei Fedorov.
Oh,
Huh.
wow.
I'd have never guessed.
What are the odds that Detroit hasn't had an MVP in the last 30 years?
That's
I mean, it makes
wild.
wow.
It's
Yeah.
insane. With Datsuk, Zetterberg, Lidstrom.
Yeah.
What the hell? Edmonton.
Oh, that's easy. It's Connor McDavid.
Correct.
The fuck?
The Los Angeles Kings.
That's been a minute, hasn't it?
I'm going to say Gretzky.
Correct.
Ha! Fuck you, Kings. You guys suck. You win by teamwork. What a loser.
1989 for Gretzky.
Teamwork and
Montreal
Kopitar is existing.
Canadien.
Oh,
Fuck,
God.
man. Fucking Maurice Richard?
Oh,
Like, what the
No,
fuck?
Carey Price. Carey Price won it. One
Number
year,
one goaler.
Yeah.
Carey
didn't
Price.
he? One goal, Carey Price. Yeah, I knew they gave it to him for some reason.
The price is right. Calice, tabarnak.
The New Jersey Devils.
Scott Niedermeyer.
Endo, do you have an
I
initial
was gonna say
guess?
Scott. I was gonna say Scott Steiner for some fucking reason.
Scott Stapp.
Butt sucking.
Your hint.
The guy who hits people.
2017-18.
Oh, fuck me. Oh!
17-18.
17-18.
He's a forward.
Correct.
Okay. Is he a father? Fucking guess who?
Okay, Christian, settle down.
Yeah.
He's played for a variety of different teams.
God, I
Wait.
got nothing.
He's a teammate to a
Oh my
certain award.
God,
favorite.
yeah. Stupid. Taylor Hall.
Taylor Hall.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
so undeserved. So undeserved.
The New York Islander.
Zygmunt Palffy.
Can you imagine?
I'm gonna go and say Mike Bossy. Like I don't think they've won
That's
it
a
in a hot
strong
fucking minute.
guess.
I don't think they've won it in a hot minute.
John Tavares.
They last won it in 1978-79. Just before Wayne Gretzky would win 8 in a row. Brian
Bossy, you know.
Trottier.
Ah, okay.
Brian
okay,
Trottier.
Yeah.
Bossy was a really good guess.
Yeah, I knew they hadn't won it in a minute.
The New York Rangers. New York Rangers. Your
It's
hint.
been a while, hasn't it?
1991-92.
Oh wow, way before I was thinking. Leech.
Good guess, but no.
Fuck.
I got nothing.
Endo, pretend this was a cookie.
That's a hint of some sort.
Fuck.
It
I don't
is.
get it though.
SDPN viewers will know. Pretend the Stanley Cup is a cookie.
I got nothing, dude.
Mark Messier.
I was thinking Messier. I don't know why.
91-92 for that.
There's a jar of preserves.
The Philadelphia Flyers.
Oh God. It's gonna be someone ancient. Maybe not. Lindros?
Philadelphia Flyers. What'd you say?
Lindros?
Correct. 1994-95. Eric Lindros.
Is it Ross or Ross? I've heard it.
I always
pronounced
heard
both ways.
Lindros, but
So did I, but then I'm assuming if it's like any sort of like accent on it, it'd be like,
Yeah.
it might be the correct way.
Let me know when we're done, because there's one more thing we should talk about
Okay.
Fuck you. I'm having fun, Endo.
The-
Let me know when we're done.
Let me know in chat what it is you want to bring up because we are running late here. But I knew you guys would have fun with this, or at least
This
similar.
is a blast.
The Pittsburgh Penguins.
Last
Jagger.
heart. Ooh, this is a trick, isn't
But
it?
that's recent. No, Crosby. Crosby's won a Hart. He's won everything.
But didn't Malkin win it one year? And wasn't it more recent?
I think
Because the last
Malkin-
hardware Crosby one was the Maurice Richard. I'm gonna say Malkin, but I don't think I'm completely right on that.
Bill Castle. No, it's Crosby.
In 2011-12, Evgeny Malkin won the Hart Trophy. In 2013-14, Sidney Crosby won the Hart Trophy.
Yeah.
You! Fuck you! Oh, I was filleting myself. Get
Ugh.
fucked, you asshole.
This is why you watch the video portion, everybody.
Oh.
Arms in the air.
God
I
damn it,
couldn't-
I haven't celebrated that early since Saturday.
Oh, God.
Hey, they got this field goal. Fuck yeah.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
The Sharks, we already mentioned, Joe Thornton.
Mm-hmm.
The St. Louis Blues.
Ooh. Wayne Gretzky.
Good guess, but no.
Oh, I don't even know. Ooh, I got to go back. This has got to be like early 2000s.
Correct.
Pronger.
Correct. 2000
Yeah.
season. Chris Pronger. It's on the cover of NHL that year.
Mm-hmm.
The Tampa Bay Lightning.
Mm.
Kucherov.
Correct.
Oh, was it? When did he win it?
Yeah.
1819
Oh.
was
Okay.
only the second member of the Lightning to win it ever after Martin St. Louis in 2004.
Yeah, I was going to guess him or LeCavier.
Hmm.
I didn't think that this core has won it. Okay, interesting.
The Toronto Maple Leafs.
Austin Matthews won the Hart.
Correct. 21-22.
Yeah.
There you go.
The
Then they put him on the
Vancouver
cover.
Canucks.
Vancouver
Only Canucks to ever win the award.
Pavel Bure.
No.
Shit.
Endo for the steal.
Was it
Emil.
a Dean?
Maybe.
Yeah, I guess which one? Who was better?
Hold
was it
on.
Hank or Daniel?
I remember seeing this. Daniel Sedin.
Henrik Sedin.
Get fucked.
Yeah, whatever. They wear the same jerseys anyway. It's fine.
It could have been Daniel that season if they
Yeah,
just decided to wear the other jersey. There you go.
I don't know. brother.
And the Washington Capitals.
Easy.
Alex Ovechkin.
Correct.
Yep.
In 2013.
Oh, that's it? Damn, we're out.
That's
oh, well.
Yep, that's it. But I feel like we can do more of that in the future. I have fun. You know, I've
That's a lot
discovered
of
that.
fun.
You know, I have a lot more fun talking about the past and stuff like that. I think
I
we
just
can
like
continue-
trivia.
Yeah, I think we can find fun topics to
Hell yeah, brothers.
to talk about in the meantime. Endo, the story he was going to bring up, I do think is one worth mentioning. I don't have much to add about it. But
I don't
Endo
even know
wanted
what
to bring
it
up
is.
the issue going on in junior hockey right now, where the BCHL was going to bring in 5 AJHL teams next season. The AJHL has now suspended those 5 teams for the rest of the season. Endo, your thoughts? Because on one hand, I'm like, I get it, I understand it. On the other hand, I agree, it's kind of shitty. But it's one of those like, yeah, hockey's fucking weird, isn't it? Type of stories.
So one of the things to note here is that 4 out of the 5 teams here are the top AJHL teams. Notably, the Brooks Bandits, who beat the absolute piss out of literally anybody they play. Who some notable players from there are Cale Makar and someone by the name of Aiden Fink, who was drafted late last season to the Nashville Predators, who's undersized forward. He had like 100 points, whatever. It was something ridiculous. So the big thing about this is not that the BCHL is growing. That's obviously huge. Earlier this year, the BCHL parted ways from the Hockey Canada program because of stuff that was going on probably internally and having options to do stuff. Because it's very rare that a player from the BCHL would ever play for Team Canada. It very rarely happened. So what they then did was go private independent, and they're now doing their own thing because the BCHL has historically been a feeder for the NCAA. And so a lot of people may not know this, but if you are in Hockey Canada and you're playing major junior in Hockey Canada, your options afterwards are kind of limited because once you play there, a lot of leagues see that as NHL development and they don't see it as a development league. They see it as an actual they see it actual pro hockey. So if you play in the O or the C or the QMJ, you are not allowed to play in the NCAA. There was an issue with that with a player who had some KHL time who was going to sign over and play for the University of Maine, but couldn't because, technically speaking, he played the KHL for a couple games and it voided his status as being a non-NHL as a non-professional player, and now he's in U Sports with Ryerson, aka
shout out to Artyom Duda.
Exactly. He is probably the most prominent player to make it over there
really strong, dude.
in a long time.
Dude.
Sorry. I just
he's the most
that.
prominent player to make it over there, especially because he is like a draft pick and he's pretty high up on the list. Now it's huge here because, you know, you're a feeder for NCAA and other pro leagues. It's huge because there's not really much that you can do with Junior A in Canada because it's very rare that players that get called to play, you know, for the national club. And they do have the Junior A championship, but like that's very ever like talked about or promoted at all within Canada itself. And yeah, it's going to be a big change because now players can recruit outside of. Usually there's like a limit for how many imports you can bring in for certain teams in Junior A. But now that they're going independent, they can bring in literally anyone they want, which is another cool thing.
It's a big change.
Yeah.
It is a big change. One
of the clubs was scheduled to actually host the Canada's National Junior A Championship next year. You know, with I think it was the Ototoks. I'm probably mispronouncing that. The Ototoks Oilers. They were slated to host the tournament next year, and they have to find a new host. And it seems like not only was like last week's games postponed, but more games are being postponed at the moment. And the AJHL has put out a statement saying, you know, teams aren't suspended or anything like that. Meanwhile, their games are getting canceled. It's like, we're not prohibiting anybody from playing, but just for the 23rd, 24th, you know, Ototoks can't play. Sherwood Park can't play, and you know, so you're not really suspended, but at the same time, you're not allowed to play your games until we finalize the situation, which is kind of harming the kids in their development, and they're getting caught in the crossfire, which is what they wanted to avoid. But that's pretty much all it is for junior hockey. Also, one thing to note is that because the BCHL left, the AJHL moved. A lot of teams moved up from Junior B and are classified as Junior A now. So that also changed the whole giant thing over there as well.
With that, everybody, it is. A lot about hockey is a mess, but hey, that's why we talk about it. And we thank you for listening to us talk about it over the course of the last 2 hours or so. We will be back most likely next week, unless some major news breaks. We'll have a secondary show later on in the week. But for now, Endurance M, what do you have going on?
I just noticed Titanfall 2 went on sale for $7.
Worth it.
I'm looking into that because Titanfall 2 is great. Also, I have EA Play, so I'd probably have it for free. But yeah, didn't stream today because I was cleaning up. I needed to do some more cleaning before hockey. But more streams are happening. I actually bought a Wii U off of my cousin's because I'm just gonna jailbreak it because the online servers are off. And I'm going to play a whole bunch of games on it for fun. And because I can. And I'm going to play Wii Sports Resort. So less hockey on my channel, more just honestly whatever the fuck I want it to be. I was doing I was doing tier lists the other day with cake. It was fun. Yeah.
Cake.
Sin, what's up?
I just started Draft Glory franchise mode on my channel.
Sweet.
And finishing uploading that fucking Finland tournament we did. But yeah, that's the main thing. And then, yeah, we got to do some more Parsec, like a franchise mode with more people on NHL Legacy, because that game's a blast.
Yeah, we got a couple weeks before you're heading back over to Finlandia, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yo, Finland.
we need to figure that stuff out, don't we?
Yeah, and also that other thing. That co-op thing.
That other thing.
I have a couple ideas for us, and I'll text you.
Well, there you go. With that, everybody, you can still catch me on a nightly basis on the streaming side of things, whether it's NCAA college football, maybe some Parsec pals with the friends, maybe one game of Eashel before I throw myself out the window. Time will tell. For now, thank you for listening, for Sin, for Endo, for Steve. We'll see you all next week. Goodbye.